physically having an affair, but something is going on. Why would he be pulling back like that? Like, why is he... Like, no, to me, women know. Like, you're saying that because you know.
What?
Women know. Like, she knows what it is. She just doesn't have the proof. What she's
Here you go with that proof bit. This is where you're going to start going down his phone.
No, that's what she's going to do. I'm not saying what she should do. I'm telling you what she's going to do.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. Welcome to another episode of the Couple School Podcast. I'm joined, as always, by the lady of self-love herself, Charmaine Lauren.
Hello, guys. Hope you're well.
This one's not. Well, I don't know. We'll see how you think about it. So, it's quite a long one, this one. So, hey guys, love the podcast, by the way. I need your help. My husband and I have been married for 10 years. We've built a great life together, both have great jobs and have regular holidays in some fantastic places. Recently, he's been pulling away from me sexually. I touch him when he tells me that he has a headache or makes up another excuse. It's making me very insecure as our relationship started out as an affair, and that was basically what I was saying to my previous partner because I was out sleeping with my now husband. I worry that he is now having an affair, which is why he doesn't want me anymore. Do I have something to worry about, or is it all in my head?
It's not in your head. It's definitely not in her head. It's women's intuition. He's having an affair. Don't anyone say anything to me. Women know he's having an affair.
I don't think you can jump to that one.
Of course we can.
No.
Yes, we can.
There could be a whole array of reasons as to
it's
why
either he's
he's
having an
pulling
affair
back
or he's broke.
pulling back.
Yeah, so he's having an affair, or he's lost a lot of money, or he's lost his job, or something. But generally, it's something major. It's not going to be something small. It's going to be something major. For a man to be turned away like that, it's going to be something to do with sex or money or power.
I don't know. I think it could be that, but I think it also could be a build-up of something that he's not talked about. So maybe it's something maybe it could be all of a sudden that he's now got to a point where if it's something that he believes you should know or you should do or he has discussed and it's not being done and his frustration's just got to a point where he just can't do it anymore, or he's just in a position where he's like, right, well, I need to pull back from you. It could be any one of those reasons. I'm not disputing the fact that it could be an affair. But I think that when relationships start as an affair, the fear is always going to be in the back of your head that history's going to repeat itself with yourself.
It's highly likely to be an affair. Like, let's just be real. I don't know why you're beating around the bush here. I'm not. The fact of the matter is likely to be an affair. Like, I'm not saying that, like, he's already physically having an affair, but something is going on. Why would he be pulling back like that? Like, why is he... Like, no, to me, women know. Like, you're saying that because you know.
What?
Women know. Like, she knows what it is. She just doesn't have the proof. What she's
Here you go with that proof bit. This is where you're going to start going down his phone.
No, that's what she's going to do. I'm not saying what she should do. I'm telling you what she's going to do. What she's going to do is she's going to look for proof, and she's going to find proof that he's having an affair, because that is affair behaviour. Sorry, come for me if you want. I don't care. Like, that is affair behaviour. You've coached couples.
I know, and I'm not disputing the fact that it could be, but what I think you need to bear in mind is that's the beginning of the end behaviour. I will put that in there. When people start pulling back like that, and very specifically like that, so they're still involved in all the other bits and pieces, but very specifically pulling back in that respect, usually means, if we're going to go down Charmaine's route, it usually means that either an affair has started or there's an interest in somebody else along the way. So somebody else is petting his ego at work, or someone else's a regular interaction is showing that kind of interest, and therefore there's that kind of possibility of something going on in that respect. Again, as I said earlier on, I think it could be a frustration that he's aired, that he feels that he's being underappreciated or disrespected by the fact that you haven't done something about it or moved on his instruction of it being there.
Do men usually do that though? Do men usually pull back sexually because they're frustrated that you haven't done what they said they did, unless it's to do with you not being attractive?
The thing is, like, if they're in a committed relationship, then if someone isn't in a relationship, then for guys, the love and the sex are two separate things. When the two are coming from one single person, if someone hasn't done if they feel ignored or underappreciated, then they will let you know that in a degree. So some guys will use the money side of things, and they will stop paying for X, Y, and Z, or stop taking you out on dates or what have you. And that's their way of taking it from a verbal thing to a physical. I'm now gonna punish you for not doing what X, Y, and Z. The sexual side of things also, particularly if they have quite a buoyant sexual relationship, is another way of feeling like he's taking something away from her because he feels disjointed by the way in which she's behaved or not behaved off the back of what he said or she knows she should be taken care of. So I'm just saying it could be something like that. I'm not disputing the fact that it may be an affair. I'm not disputing the fact that somebody else may be there trying to push buttons for him to go, right, okay, cool, pay attention to me in this way now. And also that he may be starting to like said attention. But it's not always, it doesn't always mean that.
Okay, I'll give you that. It's not always, but, yeah. What was the question she asked? What was the last bit of the question?
Do I have something to worry about, or is it all in my head?
Either way, you have something to worry about, whether it's a fair or not.
I don't think it's something that's in your head. I think you know your husband. I don't think it's something that's in your head. I think you know full well that something's wrong. I do think that you do have something to worry about because, as I said, if it is an affair, you definitely have something to worry about. Mm-hmm. But if it is him taking something that he feels frustrated out on you in a physical form like this, it's a very deliberate removal of something, and it's a power play, and as I said, it's the beginning of the end, really. Yeah. Because if you don't pay attention to this, then he will be out, completely. So it's definitely something you need to be concerned about. Definitely something you need to worry about.
Agreed. Definitely.
And I think that it goes either way. I mean, if you take a look at this, if I touch him and he tells me he has a headache, or he makes up another excuse. Now, typically, that's something you would hear being said of a woman, to really and truly. And so when I hear things like that, and it's been a very specific use of wordage like that, then it usually indicates to me that this is some sort of retribution as far as he's concerned, that he's trying to teach you a lesson physically. So definitely something you need to pay attention to. Definitely you need to pay attention to.
I watched a video on social media, and obviously, social media, there was no evidence to back it up. I mean, there was evidence, but I didn't check it out. That they were saying that basically women that have an affair tend to have an affair with someone they want to move on with. So usually they move on to someone better. Whereas men, when men have an affair, they have an affair for the thrill and the chase, and therefore the person's not necessarily better. Whereas when a woman is about the connection of that person's making her feel, so it's usually someone better than the partner. And in affairs, statistically, women that have affairs tend to have a relationship with the person they have an affair with, whereas men that have affairs don't normally have a relationship. Quite interesting. Just thought I'd throw that in there, it just came to my head. You sitting on it for a bit?
I'm just digesting that.
Yeah.
No, I think you're right.
It's quite interesting. But they had statistics. I couldn't remember. I didn't search up this, like I like to know those back up, but I didn't search it. But yeah, women tend to have affairs with men that are better than their men, and men tend to have affairs with women that they can chase and get the thrill from.
I think that sort of boils back to sort of, if we take a look at typically, because this whole new generation is trying to disprove it, but typically, like, men have an ability to detach sex and emotion. So they can have sex with multiple people and not really care that much about them. Whereas women tend to have sex with people that they have a want of a connection with, or an established connection with. You know? So when you take a look at it in that perspective, you look at it and go, well, for a woman to have an affair with someone, she's already got a connection with that person. And that person's already, and they've already started to build a connection. They've built, he has, or she has built you up to that point where you're now like, hey, right, well, I feel physically ready to have a physical relationship with you. And she would have probably have gone, right, well, now I'm seeing things that I want here that aren't here or are no longer here. So therefore that now looks like a more viable place for me to be. Yeah. She's on her way out. Whereas a guy could have an affair with someone because they're not having enough sex within their present marriage, have no want of reason to leave said relationship. They're just scratching an itch over there. Right? So yeah, I can believe that. I can believe that. Yeah, definitely. No, it's as you're saying, or they're saying that women need a reason to cheat, and men need a reason not to. I think it's the way that somebody once put it to me. You know, and when you take it, you investigate that. You're like, well, women need a reason to cheat. In other words, something that they want or they need isn't being fulfilled within their present relationship, and that causes the reason for them to do so. Whereas you talk about the whole age-old hunter-gatherer type of situation with regards to guys, you know, and then for them needing reasons, reading consequences to be stacked. That means that, well, it's not worth stepping out there. Yeah. It's not worth stepping out there because I've now got way more to lose here than I've got to gain over here. Yeah. You know? So, yeah, interesting one. I think with this particular lady here,
what's her first move?
Your first move is to have a conversation with your husband openly. I don't think that gathering proof here. I think what you need to do is you need to grab by the ball, by the horns, and call it out. Just say that. Yeah,
she definitely needs to call it out. I mean, I wouldn't go looking for proof.
Yeah.
Right now.
I think you need to call it out and just go, and not in a threatening way. So call it out in the sense of going, I've got a concern. I've got a concern because of blah blah blah, and then base what happens next based on what he comes back to you with. You know, because he might come back and it might be a thing of he's oblivious and going, actually, you know what, work's just been really stressful, blah 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 blah. Yeah. And then you work your way through it. It could be that he goes, right, well, you know, I'm kind of frustrated. Yeah, it goes, you're frustrated with that, but I'm kind of frustrated that this has been going on and you haven't done this or you haven't said this or whatever it is. You know, if he tries to just wash over it, you know, there's something else as deep as going on, and you need to start, you know, pull out your Inspector Morse glasses and start digging around. But I think definitely the first protocol is to have a conversation with him, and lay the issue or the concern out, and give an opportunity for a response, and then see where it goes from there.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think a conversation needs to happen, just as in, like, we haven't done this, why, what's going on, is there something I don't know that you need to, is everything okay at work? Like, I would even go as far as to give options. Is it work? Like, is it me? Is it the children? Is it, like, are you under stress? Because, like, I think if it's not an affair, it's probably something to do with status or money. Like you said, maybe something at work stressing him out, like status-wise, and then also money. Maybe you've got this nice lifestyle. Maybe there's something going on where that lifestyle is, you know, too big for what's going on in his pockets.
Definitely, I think you do need to throw. I think the likelihood is that you're going to have to tease this out of him because for whatever reason, if you're not aware of it now, there's probably a reason as to why he hasn't explicitly said it, or maybe feels that he can't explicitly say it, and therefore would need some polite suggestion, should we say, to make sure that, you know. And also, I think for yourself is you've also got to look at it and go, right, well, you've got to play your role in terms of either helping solve the situation or make sure that you've done everything you can in order to solve it, is what I'm basically trying to say. So making sure you have that conversation with him in a comfortable fashion where you've given him the opportunity to articulate what it is that's bothering him, or what the issue is. And also if he is in a situation with something that's prompting an insecurity, so let's say for argument's sake it is a money kind of thing, and all of a sudden now he's been able to up until this point fund this lifestyle that you guys have built, but now something's happened at work or something's happened along the way which means he's not able to do that anymore, or maybe you might find that actually his capability of being able to do that died a few years ago and he's been maxing out credit cards and what have you to keep that whole situation alive. You may find that there's a hell of a lot of embarrassment and ego that's the reason as to why this is coming about, and he's going to need some prompting and some gentle sort of stoking of the fire to get those words out for him to admit that to you, and to bring you in on it, so but then also brace yourself because it might just be an affair.
Yeah, exactly. You just don't know which one.
Yeah, it might just be an affair.
Either way.
Just a slight off subject. Married at First Sight, have you been watching it?
No. The new one?
Yeah, Australia.
No. Is it new? How far in are we?
This season. I think it's finished.
Is it? Oh no, I didn't. I was doing Love Is Blind.
That's such a disappointment.
Go on, what was I going to say?
No, there's a particular relationship in there with a guy called Bronte, a guy called Harrison, and a lady called Bronte, and he's the most narcissistic, nasty piece of work I've ever seen on a TV show. He's manipulative and deliberately destructive, not to his own, just to his own relationship. Is
this the one where that he cheated with another person?
No, he's.
Okay.
So when the first episode on the actual wedding day, the wife's sister, I think she talks to one of the other girls on the groom's side, and she tells him immediately that he's basically got some other girl that is waiting for him after this experiment's over. It starts off like that, and then it just plummets down the whole line of deceit and despair, and the way he manipulates her, and then also manipulates other couples to destroy them. Like he's the epitome of having a cuckoo lay an egg in your nest, and then this chick just eats everything out your house and home while you run ragged. It's the only metaphor I can use for it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'll
definitely
watch
watch
it
it.
now.
Definitely watch it. But it's the way he manipulates her and gaslights her, and then twists it around to get her to be on his side to the point where she doesn't know left or right or up or down anymore. Like she's just and then she's the other women in the experiment can see him for what he is, and they come at him any time he gets to the point where he doesn't feel like he's got anything to say, he deflects it off and it's almost like he throws a grenade at somebody else's relationship and watches that explode over there, so everybody else goes over in that direction. It's mad. I was hoping you'd seen it, because then it would have been a good point of discussion. But we'll bring it up on a later podcast, and then we'll see what you think of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. But going back to this issue here, I don't necessarily think that, and I'm definitely not getting the vibes that it's an affair. I'm not saying it couldn't be, but I'm not getting the vibes it's fair. I think it's something big. I think it's something else, and I think that you need to go speak to your man and find out what it is and discuss it. And you never know, it might be something that you can actually help him through or help him with, or something that's easily fixed, and he's just built up a lot of anxiety around it over a long period of time, and it's making him act in that kind of way. But I think you should be very weary of your own insecurities here, especially around the way in which your relationship started, because I don't believe in the saying that once a cheat, always a cheat. No, that might have been how your relationship started, but it doesn't have to be how your relationship ends.
Yeah. However, it's a possibility. I'm telling you, there's something about women's intuition that men will never understand. Like, they just will never understand it. It's just a gut feeling. And we try to hide and lie to ourselves all the time that we're not feeling it, that it's not happening, that this is not the truth. Like, but when you feel it and it's not coming from trauma, then you're generally correct. It's just is what it is. And I'm not saying that it's gone all the way. I'm not saying that it's like maybe big, but it's a huge possibility that what you're thinking, if it's not based on trauma, is correct, because I don't know how to explain it. It just is what it is. Women have this thing.
I don't think it's just restricted to women. I think it's your gut instinct on things. I've learned over the years, I don't ignore it.
Yeah.
You know, because whenever it's always blown up in my face, or it's been right.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think people are nervous, scared of having difficult conversations because of the consequence or the fear that's attached to the possibility of what it could be afterwards. But when you take a look at it, your relationship is doomed to failure if you don't have it. You know, at the end of the day, if this thing is on the cards, it's on the cards, whether you've chosen to look at it now or get slapped in the face by it later. And a lot of the times, you know, these things can be avoided because you catch it in its early stages and you're able to deal with it while it's small. You know, the amount of people that I've coached over the years where their relationships have reached a point of termination, but when you get to the bottom of it, it was over. If they had discussed it way back when they first had the gut feeling that this isn't right, you know, because that's what that gut feeling is. It's that feeling that goes, oh, something's not right here. And it's going off of senses that aren't fathomable, aren't comprehensible to the individual. It's not a scientific thing that you can put out in the equation and go, oh, 2 + 2 = 4. No, it's a thing. It's a feeling you've got based on what you understand to be true, not being right now. And you have to be able to have that open conversation with each other and go, look, I don't think this is right here. So what's what go on for you?
Yeah, exactly. Also, it's think ahead of time as well. Like, what would you like the outcome to be if it is an affair? What would you like the outcome to be if it's money? Like, how would you support that situation? Like, sometimes to reduce the anxiety is to or to have a plan of action in your head. And here I go with my plan of action. Have a plan of action of how you feel about the situation. We should probably do a podcast on this, because a lady asked me about, like, her man's having an affair, like, but she doesn't know what way to go. Like, he's sorry, blah blah blah. Should she stay or should she go? Like, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, you have to make a decision, and whichever decision you make, you have to stand in your decision, because you have to stand in it. If that's your man, that's your man. Like, I remember saying to a friend of mine, she was like talking about, like, my guy this and my guy that, blah blah whatever. And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, he's such a dickhead. I see, but he's your dickhead. Like, but the truth is, that's your man, isn't it? So regardless of whether you complain to me about your man or whatever, that's still your man at the end of the day. So you can say what you like about him, but that's your man. You're riding and you're dying together. That's what you decided. So it's all good to make a decision that this is, this I don't like, this I don't like that, or I'm going to stick, I'm not going to stick. You just make a decision. So create your little plan about what you're going to do either way, whatever it is. What are you going to do if it's just that he's just tired, stressed, money, I don't know, anything. Like, what is your support going to look like as his missus?
I'd add one thing onto that, and this is something that we talked about way back. It might even be one of the first podcasts out there. Is what's your non-negotiable? And I think you need to really have that established before you have this conversation.
But be honest as well.
Yeah, it
can't be honest. Like, people say all the time, like, do you know what? Me statistics, right? I don't even remember what the stat was, but majority of women whose partners cheat, majority of women stay.
Yeah.
The majority of women stay. So all this, I love myself too much for this, and blah blah blah.
Out the window.
Like, let's just be real about what the situation is and stand in it. Like. Like you said, not once a cheat is not always a cheat.
No, and it's like you said, it's your dickhead.
It's your dickhead.
It is, and I think it's people like to do that. That whole situation of I know my self-worth, and I wouldn't. And wow, that's all based on what society has fed you. your relationship is your relationship, and you have to make a decision based on your relationship, in your relationship. And that may be a decision to step out of it, but it may also be a thing where you take a look at it and go, well, I want to stay. And if the decision is you want to stay, then you have to decide, okay, right, well, cool. What's next? How does this all look out? How do I get from here? Oh, actually, you need to first, before you even get to the planning the journey, you've got to go, okay, right, well, I want to stay. What's the destination point now? No. What's the destination point? Then decide on all the bits, the yellow brick road before that. Yeah. Then have the conversation. You know, some people do cheat and it's a mistake. No, it's not the beginning of a serial event. It's not the beginning of life of destruction and turmoil for you. It was a mistake that happened because of X, Y, and Z. Insert appropriate reason here. And that person may have genuine remorse and ill feeling and really feel bad about themselves and never want to do it again. You have to make that decision in your relationship at that point in time as to whether or not you feel that person is true and what they're saying is right, and then stick to it. And what I always say to people when it comes to deciding to stay after an affair or something has happened is the person you're forming a new contract between you and your person. The person that's done the dirty, they are now saying and promising you that they are going to be true to what they've said they're going to do in terms of helping this relationship build out for it. The person that's accepting the person and this incident that's happened is accepting that they're also going to support your relationship out of it, but you're also not just going to sit there and throw it back in the person's face. It's a true decision. It's a decision. It's a decision, she said, that you're willing to stand by your dickhead for. So
there you go. So she needs to figure it out.
Yeah, she does.
You might be the gambler from two podcasts ago.
Maybe he is, and maybe that's why, as I said,
it could be that's
why he's pulling back, because he's spent the rent, and he doesn't know how to tell you, and that's what's making him libido drop out or
any of those things.
Mr. Sergeant Major not standing to attention. Right, that brings us to the end of this week. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening on whatever platform it is that you're doing. If you haven't subscribed already, please do hit the subscribe button. It is down here somewhere. And also don't forget to ring the bell on the way out. We will be back for Couple School After School on Tuesday at 8:30 on Instagram Live. And don't forget, the next podcast will be out next Sunday on YouTube and all major podcast platforms. Nearly got it out in one go on Sunday at 12 o'clock. In the meantime, if you guys stay strong, you stay focused.
See you later, guys.
Peace.